I'm here at Divertimenti with Lucy Cufflin, who's the author of Lucy's Bakes. Lucy, thank you for coming. And I love it says on here, over 200 of the easiest baking recipes you will ever make. Is this for the person who's a bit nervous about baking?
Hopefully it's for everybody. So if you've never baked before, you'll be able to pick up this book and have success. If you're an accomplished baker, there's things in there that just might make you want to get a bowl out and get baking, because there's some interesting ideas. So hopefully for everybody.
And I love that you have notes from real life home bakers.
We do, but that really started, it's my second book, and the publishers asked me if I would write a book about baking, and I started because I work also part-time for a ski company, and we do over 250,000 afternoon teas every winter. And for our staff in the chalets, the recipes have to work 100% of the time, and they have to use as few implements as possible.
So simple, straightforward.
Simple, straightforward, but interesting as well. So the working title of the book was in actual fact One Bowl 80 Bakes, but we got up to 200 and realised the working title no longer worked. But the idea is that most things in this book can be made in one bowl. It might be a saucepan or a bowl or whatever, but one vessel.
Now, where do people go wrong when they're baking, if they are novice bakers?
I think it depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about something straightforward, I say straightforward, something in our head like a sponge cake. So if we started with a Victoria sandwich, I think most people overmix it. So in their head, they think they've got to get lots of air in it, but once the flour goes in, you just want to put away any electrical implement. Yep, be gentle with it, because the more you work flour, the chewier it will become, the less light, and then your cake is ruined. And I think people in their heads think more mixing the better, but in actual fact with cakes it's not necessarily so.
I mean, I would think especially with recipes for baking, you really have to be kind of holding our hand, but you're not in the kitchen with us, to make sure we really know what to do step by step.
I think the steps are fairly simple, and that was the idea of having so many people involved. So when we write the recipes for the ski chalets, they go out to test, and there'll be 100, 150 people who will test every single recipe. Wow. So there isn't a recipe that enters into the menu that can't work every time or doesn't work every time, or if someone doesn't understand something. And in a way it was the same principle. I started to write this book and I put on a stone in about 3 weeks, because I'm not a big cake eater normally, and I was just eating cake all the time, so I thought I need help. So I rang my very old friend, who's also called Lucy, who I cook with, and I said, I need help, you've got to come and help me. And she's great because she's cooked as long as I have, and her mother, who has baked a cake every single day of her married life. No. So she's baked over 6,000 cakes in her time. She's 84, and she's one of our testers, in fact, so we had to send her recipes that really we were absolutely sure would work, or else we'd be panned by her. But the other Lucy's mother has a real penchant for sort of 70s American recipes. So that was a whole different sort of genre of weirdness that came into the game. And then we baked for about 3 weeks, and she also put on a stone. She said, I can't do this either. So we said, well, why don't we get lots of people to bake and taste? And then we'll definitely know that they're absolutely foolproof. But secondly, what we didn't realise, which was a real bonus, they came back and said, but you know what I did with it? And I added X, or I added sugar, or I added little rose petals, or whatever it was. And suddenly we had a whole list of alternatives to make it more interesting for the user, without actually accounting for it at all. So it was really good fun. We had a Facebook group, and they all swapped pictures, and they're all become really good friends, and they even now swap pictures of things they've made and ideas and what have you. So yeah, so the next baking book is nearly written, because we've just got so many new ideas from them.
So there's another one coming out?
I hope so, just one thing at a time. The publishers actually want me to write so Lucy's Bakes, they want me to write one about sort of savoury, sort of street food, really sort of picnic that you can eat on the hoof. So
that sounds perfect.
But, yeah.
And a favourite recipe or something in here that you'd like us all to try?
It would be rather dull to tell you, but it's one of the simplest things in there, and they're little Marmite biscuits. And even people who don't like Marmite like them. And it's a recipe you can make with anybody from 2 years old upwards, and you literally put 4 different ingredients in a bowl, you squeeze it together until it's a dough, you roll it into a sausage, you slice it and bake it. But the combination of cheese and Marmite within the biscuit, sort of seasoning it, they're the lightest thing, and you can keep the log in the freezer and just chop it up when you just suddenly have people around. So it's one of the simplest, and actually in a way, one of the best.
Oh, I'm getting some extra
Yeah.
saliva right
Yeah.
now. That sounds delicious. Lucy, thank you so much. And Lucy's Bakes, and thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.